On the 21st of February of 2021, I started playing Chrono Trigger on my Twitch stream. It was a Sunday, and I remember I had just done a liquor store run a few days prior. Bought a lot of new things I wanted to try. I had some mead. I decided to open that bottle of mead at the beginning of stream, and I really intended to have about 2 glasses maximum. As it would go, I had a lot more than that. I ended up drinking the entire bottle of mead, and I was definitely getting a bit drunk, but I decided it would be also a good idea to open up a bottle of vodka that I had not tried before, the Crystal Head, the Skull vodka. And I started taking shots of that. Now, it's important to note that when I refer to shots here, I'm talking about shot glasses that are actually about 1.75 times that of a normal shot glass. I wasn't aware of this at the time, but I've since looked into and measured it, and realized that's also part of what was messing me up so bad, aside from just the sheer quantities of what I was drinking. I don't remember much from the second half of that stream. The last things I do remember was during one of my breaks, I went on Facebook and made a post that I was playing Drunken Chrono Trigger. Come on in, here's the link. Everybody join. And I remember one of my friends showing up, and it should have been painfully obvious who it was given the username, but I was so drunk, I barely had any comprehension remaining. It took a while to figure out who it was. They had to, straight up tell me. And I got really excited they were here, so I started doing more and more shots, and things just kept getting crazier and crazier. I probably had about 8 shots of vodka, those large shots, mind you. And that's on top of all the mead that I drank previously. I was definitely pretty tipsy by the time I finished the mead, and the shots of vodka did not help the situation. I definitely blacked out. One of the last things I remember was gaining a temporary moment of lucidity and realizing just how drunk I was. I said, I need to get off stream now. It's one of the quickest, most abrupt endings I've ever done to a Twitch stream, to any of my live streams. I essentially said, I am far too drunk to do this anymore. Bye. Not much more than that. I immediately went into the bedroom, and I passed out for about 9.5 hours. I woke up my own volition with no alarm, and I actually felt great. I had been suffering from some recent bouts of insomnia, and I was getting very little sleep every night. That ended up being the most sleep, because I slept for like 9.5 hours straight. That ended up being the most sleep I'd gotten in probably about 2 weeks. And for whatever reason, I had no hangover. I felt great. I felt super rested. This became, the start of a binge for about the next 2.5 weeks. That was my daily routine, where after work, I would begin drinking, and I would take shot after shot after shot. Once again, the large shots. And I would just get blackout drunk, usually while still on stream, but I tried to make sure the worst of it was saved for after stream, because I would keep drinking after my streams. At that point, I streamed every day. So I would, again, try to make sure the worst of it was saved for after stream. But I would get blackout drunk every night. I would pass out. I'd wake up. I'd somehow feel fine, and rinse and repeat the next day. Again, that continued for, it was a little bit over 2 weeks, about 2.5 weeks, and somebody mentioned, we're worried about you, because they saw what I was doing to myself. I'm not stupid. I recognized that what I was doing was self-destructive. I recognized that it was not something I should be doing, and I could tell every day, oh, I'm getting more and more tipsy, oh, I'm getting blacked out, things are starting to get bad, but I would do it anyway. And finally, hearing someone mention that, hearing someone say that they were concerned about me, just something snapped inside of me, and I realized I need to stop. Now, in order to, provide for these habits for those couple of weeks, I was going to the liquor store, and I would spend $100, $130 or so on liquor, and it would be gone, 3 days tops later. It would be gone. So I'd go make another liquor run. And as fate would have it, I had just got done making a liquor run when the topic came up of them being concerned about me. So I decided to use up the last of my supplies. And in order to do that, I set strong limits of I can have 2 shots per day. No more than that. And so I would have 2 shots in a day. It would, slowly dwindle my supplies over the next few weeks. And I was able to kind of back away from alcohol a little bit. Now, that's good. That's a positive thing that I was able to back away from that and stop that downward spiral. But of course, I wouldn't be talking about this if things didn't continue. So and again, that was in mid-February of 2021. Over the course of the summer of 2021, I generally kept things under a much more mild level of control, where there's a local brewery here who releases new drinks almost every week, but probably more like every other week. They release a new flavor, and they release a lot of sours, a lot of really interesting and good flavors that I want to try. So I'll go to the store, I'll see one of their new drinks, and I'll buy a pack. Usually they come in 4 or 6 packs, depending on the drink. Sometimes they sell some special ones in 2 packs as well, depending on what they are. But I would find one of those drinks in the store, and I'd buy a pack or 2 of it, and over the course of 2 or 3 days on stream, I would drink them. Usually I would keep it moderately under control. Sometimes I'd get a little more tipsy than I wanted. It would be an issue of, I'm going to have 2 drinks today, but 2 turns into 3, turns into 4, turns into 5, and maybe I get a little more tipsy than I want, but it was nothing like the Chrono Trigger incident or those couple of weeks after that. Fast forward to September, kind of late September, I guess mid-September of 2021, and I had been at a bar on Thursday after work, and they had a drink from that brewery called the Forbidden Fruit. It was a 16% ABV lemon whiskey barrel-aged imperial sour. It was delicious. I liked it so much that I decided I had to go buy multiple boxes of it. It came in boxes like this. This is usually when they do the really limited drinks, they come in boxes like this, where it's only 2 cans per box. This is very similar. It is a whiskey barrel-aged imperial stout. It is a 12%. It's a pretty strong drink. Usually I buy at least 3 boxes of drinks when they put out one of these limited runs, because they're usually pretty good, and it's a nice collectible to have. I like, the boxes and everything are really cool. I like it. I really liked that Forbidden Fruit, the 16% sour, so I bought, I believe, 5 boxes of it. And that Saturday, I went and I bought 5 boxes of the Forbidden Fruit, and I bought a 4-pack of an 8.6% sour and a 6-pack of an 8.2% sour, as well as a couple other beverages. So I had a pretty, stocked up fridge. And that Saturday, I was playing Postal 2 on stream. And my plan was to have one of each. I was going to have one of the 8.2%ers, one of the 8.6%ers, and one of the 16%ers, and then I would drink water for the rest of stream. I didn't want to go too crazy, and especially, even an 8% drink is pretty strong for a beer. Just when you factor in by volume, it's actually a lot more alcohol than it seems. But having 2 8+%ers and a 16%er, I really didn't want to go too crazy, but as what's going to be a very common trend, I convinced myself, I asked myself a question, even though I'd started drinking water and I'm not drinking any more alcohol, but what if I did? What if I just got one more beer, right? What's one more beer? We're already here, what's just one more? One more turns into 2 more, turns into 3 more. So I end up drinking the rest of the 8.2 and 8.6%ers, and I drink another one of the 16%ers, and I am extremely hammered by the end of stream. I wake up the next day, I have a terrible hangover, a terrible headache. I'm in bed for most of the rest of the day. I force myself to get out of bed and do my stream for the next day. I was playing Party Hard, and I suffered through the entire game with still a terrible headache that hadn't gone away despite multiple rounds of BC powder, which is basically just crushed up aspirin. But I had taken a couple rounds of that. I'd been drinking water all day. The headache was still there. After the stream, I just went and laid back down, basically. And it felt like I wasted my day, just because I was suffering from the events of the night before when I was playing Postal 2. And this is really a good example of, kind of the way that things have gone for me for a long time. Alcohol has been a long-standing problem for me, and that's really what I'm here talking about. That's what I'm here rambling about. I just want to get my thoughts out because things have gone pretty crazy recently, and I feel like it's a good way I don't know, it's just a good way for me to clear my head, and I feel like, being very public about it might be helpful for me. I'm really not sure. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but it might be helpful to be extremely public and extremely open about my struggles and my intentions going forward. So we'll see if that holds true. As I said, it's been a long-standing problem for me. So like a lot of people, when I was in university, when I was in college, I drank, I'd go to parties, I would drink, I'd get plastered. I'd come in, I'd put down, 10, 12 beers, I'd be taking shots all night, I would go crazy. I'd wake up the next day, and fortunately back then I didn't really get hangovers, so I'd feel fine, and I'd be ready to do it again if needed. So I continued that for the majority of my time in school. There was a point where I took a 4-month break in, I believe, the beginning of 2014. I took a 4-month break from drinking because I felt like I'd been drinking too much. I think I had an instance where I put down like an entire 1.75 liter bottle of vodka one night, and I went to bed at about 6:30 in the morning, and I still thought I was going to make my classes at like 9 o'clock or something. Going to bed ended up being me getting up from my computer, taking about 3 steps, and then laying down on the living room floor and just passing out. No vomit or anything. I don't typically vomit when I drink. It has happened, but it's very rare. But I then woke up about 6 hours later on the living room floor, still kind of drunk. I got up and went to the bed and slept for like another 5 hours. It was crazy. I think that's one of the ones that prompted me to take that 4-month break from drinking, because I realized I had some problems. For those 4 months, not a problem. I really had no problem not drinking. I even went to the bar a few times. My friend was having a birthday party, and I showed up just to be there and hang out and talk with everybody and have a good time. All I had was water, and I was not even remotely tempted to drink. I never found that to be an issue. My issue has always been that once I start drinking, I lose my limit. No matter what my limit is, whether it's 5 beers or 1 beer. If I say I have a limit of 1 beer today, but there's more beer around, I'm probably going to get more beer. And it's kind of always been that way. Whether it's here at my place, whether it's at someone else's place, whether it's at a bar or whatever, I will drink until I either can't drink anymore, or the place closes down, or the place kicks me out, which is almost never happened. It has unfortunately happened. I don't know that I'll go into that story here. It's not really important, but I will basically drink until one of those things happen. And that's not good. I really have a hard time limiting myself, and that's the source of most of my problems. After I finished with school, after I got done with school and started working in the industry, there's that grace period where you don't have to pay on your student loans, and I didn't know what to do with that. I had so much money coming in. I'd never made money like that. I had very few bills to pay. I was going out to the bar 3 times a week, and I would rack up $120, $130, $150 on myself. And this was a college town still, mind you, so drinks were pretty cheap. I would get plastered like 3 times a week with tabs running up that high. And that was another time where I realized there are some serious problems. So that was in late 2017. And early 2018, I decided I'm going to have to stop drinking. First of all, my student loans they became due, the grace period was over, so I had new bills and new things to worry about. And second of all, I realized that what I was doing was not good for me. So from March of 2018 to March of 2019, I didn't have a single drop of alcohol. It was 1 year to the day. I don't remember the exact date, but it was 1 year to the day. It might have been something like the 17th of March. 1 year to the day, I did not have a single drop of alcohol, and generally that was extremely easy. I had no problem making it through that year. The one night that got me was, without going into a big long story, I got invited onto a tour bus so my friend was in a band who was opening up for a much larger name, and I got invited onto the tour bus to hang out, and beer and everything starts flowing. And the guy didn't know that I was sober at the time, so he just slaps a beer in my hand. This is about a month before the 1 year mark as well, and I was really tempted. But I remained strong. I made it 1 year, and then I felt, once again, I had conquered the demon. I had conquered the beast. But clearly I have not. I started drinking again, and there were good nights, there were bad nights, but there were much fewer really bad nights for a long time. Until, again, the incidents, there were a few incidents, but where it really got bad was once again in February of 2021, the Chrono Trigger incident. And again, later on, September of 2021, the Postal 2 incident, where I was drinking these 16% sours. Now, after that Postal 2 incident, in mid-September, I definitely found myself drinking more and drinking more frequently than I had been prior. Again, for most of the summer of 2021, I kept things under decent control, not perfect, but I found myself drinking a lot more, and again drinking a lot more frequently after the Postal incident. I'm not really sure what brought that on, but it's definitely a thing that's happened. So it was a bit of a return to form of the old ways. And that kind of brings me to where I'm at now. We're sitting here on the 10th of January, 2022. It's not that far into the year, and already now I have blacked out 3 times. Blackout drunk 3 times this year. That's a problem. 2 of them were within the last 5 days. One of them was on Thursday, the 6th of January, and the other was on Saturday, the 8th of January. So I blacked out 2 times that close in a row, and I'm getting tired of it. There's so many things I kind of want to say, and I want to talk about. I'm sure I'm not going to be able to address everything, but it's gotten to a point where I can't do this anymore. I can't keep doing this over and over and over again. It's not good for me. It's not even good for others around me. And something has to change. Now, as I've already mentioned, I've done sobriety in the past, and I really had no problem being sober. It's just once that first drink passes my lips, I seem to lose all control. There's something mentally, I don't know what it is, but there's something mentally where I lose control. And it's this weird paradoxical thing in my head, because I simultaneously love and hate the loss of control that comes with drinking. I hate it for many reasons, but I love it essentially because it lets me, just for a little while, pretend. All my problems get to go away. I get to put all my problems aside. They no longer exist. I have a temporary bliss, an illusion that everything is fine. Anything that was bothering me before is no longer a concern of mine. That is why I like the loss of control. But I simultaneously hate the loss of control. I hate not being in control of my mental and physical faculties. I hate waking up the next morning thinking, oh my God, what did I say last night? Actually, first of all, did I say anything stupid last night? But I can't even remember sometimes because I've gone on this trend of getting blackout drunk more and more and more frequently. So I find myself more and more frequently the next morning waking up like, what did I say? I don't even remember. Did I say something stupid? Did I embarrass myself? What did I do? Did I do something to embarrass myself? And now I'm doing this on Twitch streams all the time. And, I don't even want to watch my own streams back after I get drunk. I'm afraid to look at my own streams. I'm afraid to look at my text messages because what the hell did I send people when I got drunk? I know I had to have said something to embarrass myself, right? Generally, I'm a pretty happy drunk. There have been some times where I've become a different person, and I'm not proud of it. But generally, I'm a pretty happy drunk, and so I can at least have some solace that in the worst case, it's probably just a little cringy and embarrassing and nothing too bad. But why do I want to do this? Why do I keep doing this to myself, right? Why do I want this loss of control? Why do I want this loss of memory? And now the hangovers. Again, when I was younger, when I was like 20 years old or whatever, I didn't get hangovers. When I was around 26, maybe, I started getting hangovers. And they are essentially debilitating at this point when I do get them. I don't know what was going on when I was getting hammered in February of 2021, not getting hangovers, but generally now when I get hammered, when I get plastered like that, I get terrible, debilitating hangovers. And I don't like that. I don't like wasting the entire next day just laying in bed hating myself with a terrible headache, like barely able to move. Why would I want to do that? So it's clear at this point that I can't seem to keep that kind of control when I drink. So I probably just shouldn't drink at all. And I guess that's where I'm going with this is I have a few things left to drink. And this is, my decision. I've thought about this. I've thought a lot about this. But I've got a few things left to drink. For example, this here. But I don't really have that much. So here over the next week or two on my streams, I'll run through the last bit of drinks that I have. And I had already planned on, going to a bar for my birthday celebration here in a couple of weeks. I think I still plan on doing that. And after that point, I don't know how long, maybe forever, but I plan on becoming sober. I hear people who have recovered from alcoholism, and when they talk about I'm sober for 15 years, and they talk about how bad it was, the blackout, the blackout drunk nights, or, doing stupid things when they're drunk or whatever, when they talk about that and they're like, how that's a thing of the past. No more of that. I'm envious. I don't need alcohol to have a good time. I don't need alcohol to be happy. Alcohol's not fixing any of my problems. It only creates problems. It's very rare that I've really done much while drunk to create problems, to hurt people. And I don't mean physically hurt people, I mean more emotionally. It's very exceedingly rare that I've done anything like that, but I know I have. And all I can do is own up to what I've done in the past and realize that the demon, alcohol, is what brought me there. I can't make excuses. It's nobody's responsibility to keep track of me when I drink. That's on me. If I can't stop myself from getting to that point, if I can't stop myself from getting blackout drunk every time I start drinking at all, then I shouldn't be drinking in the first place. Nobody else is responsible but for my actions and for what I do when I'm drinking but me. No excuses. It doesn't matter how stressed I am from work. none of that matters. The answer is not at the bottom of a bottle, unless maybe it's this bottle of water because I'm thirsty. Generally, I don't have too many regrets for things that I do while drinking. Again, it's very rare that I've caused any serious problems when drinking. But I do often wake up with the sense of dread after drinking. And that sense of dread has been very strong these past few days. As I mentioned just a few days ago, what was it, the 6th of January? Yes, the 6th, when I got extremely drunk. I woke up the next day. I forgot a good chunk of my stream from the night before. And I made excuses. Oh, I forgot. I mean, the truth is I did forget that I was back in ketosis, but I did know that I was getting drunk. I started the stream out with a 10% hot chocolate stout, tall boy can. And then I had about a 200 milliliter bottle of wine. And then I had, I believe that's when I had another, I was planning on stopping at that point, but I don't remember the order everything went in, but I ended up having another hot chocolate stout, 2 normal cans of cider, and an entire full bottle of wine. And it didn't help that I'd been in ketosis. It did get me a lot more drunk, but I recognized very quickly that I was becoming tipsy pretty fast. And it did not catch me by surprise, but I still had zero control, zero willpower to stop myself from getting to that point. And that's the problem. I woke up the next day, Friday the 7th, and I had that sense of dread. I had that sense of, what did I say? What did I do last night? I'm afraid to check my messages. Ultimately, I guess it wasn't too bad. I've had much worse, but Saturday rolls around and something just felt off on Saturday. I had like this lingering sense of dread Saturday morning. My stream was not very enjoyable for me. I actually ended stream early and I just went and laid down in bed. And I had a party to go to that night. And before the party at dinner, I had a double shot margarita. And within the first hour of the party, I had 1 can of cider. I had an aviation cocktail. I had another can of cider. And I had another aviation cocktail. And that was about the point where all of us started recognizing the people that I showed up at the same time with. They're like, wait, it's only been an hour since we got here? And I'd already drank that much. I was extremely hammered that night. I blacked out large portions of the night. A lot of things happened that night, and I have a lot of just like very small chunks of memory. And the entirety of the next day, which was actually yesterday, the 9th of January, the entirety of yesterday, I basically just stayed in bed. I felt awful. I had a terrible headache. The only things I did, I got out of bed to go to the bathroom or to get more water. And I basically just laid in bed. I played YouTube videos and I would fall asleep for a little bit. I'd wake up, I'd fall asleep, I'd wake up. And I had a protein bar at like 1800. That was about it. Shortly after that, I went and brushed my teeth and took my, no, I actually never had my contacts in. But I brushed my teeth and washed my face and then just went to sleep for real, even though I'd slept through the entirety of the day. I don't want to do that anymore. And I had a sense of dread all day yesterday. What did I do wrong? Did I fuck something up? I know I must have fucked something up last night, but I don't know what it is. I can't do that anymore. I am, as I sit here and say this, I am ashamed of my actions when I do that kind of thing. I generally don't regret most of the things that I do while drinking, but I have regretted the context of the situations, that it was via loss of control that put me in those situations. I try not to regret most actions, but it's because I make the decision. I am the one consciously saying I want to do this, or that. But when I drink and I lose all inhibitions and I just go do whatever with no consequence, I do regret that side of it. And that is often why I wake up with that sense of dread, wondering if I did something wrong the night before, and just not knowing, and being afraid to know, being afraid to check. And I want to own up to it. I want to, recognize that that's on me, that nobody else is responsible for it. And again, if I can't drink without getting to that point, then I have no business drinking anymore. That's what's important to me. And that is the takeaway. Some illusion of happiness, some brief period of bliss where I can forget that my problems exist, doesn't fix anything. If anything, it just creates new problems. I'm tired of it. I don't think I don't really know what else to say at this point. I am kind of rambling. I just thought this would be a good way to get my thoughts out there. Kind of just lay myself bare, be really honest, be really open. I've got a problem. I know I've got a problem, and I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to tackle this because I can't keep doing this. Right? I can't live with the way I feel every time I go get blackout drunk, every time, again, what did I say? What did I do last night? Do I have damage control to do now? Why would anyone want to do that? That's no way to live. So I am going to, as I said, I'm going to be going sober again. I will, and this is a risk I willingly take, I will drink up the rest of my supply. And as I said, I will drink for my birthday celebrations. I'm hoping things don't go too off the rails in the interim. But after that point, I am going to be going sober. And I have no idea how long. I have no idea if I'll ever want to drink again. But until I can, really learn to control it, nobody's responsible for me. I can't rely on other people. I've thought about, this. I've thought about asking people, hey, try to make sure I don't know. No. It's not their job to do that. It's my job. And in fact, that was a thing just a couple days ago on Saturday when I got so hammered. I'd been talking to a friend who was also there, and I was messaging him like the day or so prior, saying how I didn't want to get too drunk. I wanted to show up. I didn't really want to stay too late. I didn't want to drink too much. I wanted to be able to get home and get a good night's sleep and everything. And in the messages, I said, I know that that's still dangerous for me, that if I'm not careful, I will slip up. And as I've already discussed, 1 hour into the party, I had 4 drinks, 2 cocktails and 2 ciders. That's a problem. So yeah, again, I don't know what else to say. I feel like I've probably missed something. I made a big tweet thing about it earlier, 10, 11 tweets in a row, just to get those thoughts out at the time. But I guess I will say, I do remember this. The same friend I was talking to the other day about not drinking too much at said party, the next morning, he had gotten pretty hammered at the party as well Saturday night. And the next morning, he said, "You want all my alcohol? I'm giving it up. I'm done. I'm not drinking anymore." And that really got me kicking, or that really got me thinking. I was going to use the word kick for something else. That really got me thinking, and I believe it was the kick in my ass that I needed to get me into gear. I had already kind of been teasing the idea around in my head that maybe I should stop drinking again, because the frequency of these blackout drunk nights was getting more and more and more. And so that had me starting to tease the idea of quitting again. But hearing someone else say it really just, got the gears turning. And I thought about it a lot yesterday when I was laid up in bed, hungover. And I thought about it some more today, and we started talking, started texting back and forth. And we had a really good conversation about it. And I mean, I think we're both at a pretty similar place where it's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it anymore. I know, because I've done it in the past, that when I go sober, I can still have fun. I don't need alcohol to have fun. I can even still go out to a bar and, be like a designated driver or something, or whatever. But I can just hang out with my friends. They can drink, I can have water, and I'm perfectly content with that, perfectly happy, not even remotely tempted to get a drink. It's just once that first drink passes my lips, so I guess I shouldn't have any more first drinks. That's probably the right answer going forward, I would think. If you did watch all this, thank you. I know it's just a guy sitting here rambling on about his alcohol problems that he's struggled with for most of his adult life. Again, I just feel like it's important sometimes to lay yourself bare, to own up to your problems, to own up to your mistakes, and fix them. Actually do something to fix them. Because no one's going to fix it for you. So again, if you did watch all this, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And please, if you want to share anything down below, if you want to share your comments about any struggles you've had that either you're still dealing with, or that you're working on overcoming right now, or that you have overcame, please feel free to do that. I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear your stories. And yeah, I don't know. Something about that last bit. Wow, something about that last bit there actually got me kind of teared up. Just yeah. Again, thank you for watching. It's not the end for me, but it is the end for the problem, at least. All right, hope you guys have a good one. Have a good day, good night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. Bye. I thought of one more thing I wanted to bring up. I'm going to tack here on the end of the video, and that's because I've typically given more of a public perception of how I react to some of these things, like getting blackout drunk, saying stupid, embarrassing things, or whatever. I tend to react to that with humor, and that's both online and even people like my coworkers, where it's kind of like, I got so hungover, it was awful, it was terrible, but I laugh it off. I try to make it seem like it wasn't a big deal. But as I think I've made clear in this video, every single time I get blackout drunk, every single time I'm saying stupid things and whatnot, I'm ashamed, I'm embarrassed. I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's anything to be proud of. And maybe that's just the only way I was able to mask it, but I'm through doing that.